What's going on, everyone? So, we got the production weekly in which you see the Scream 8. Now, there was rumors going around from pretty much the moment that they announced Scream 7 that there would be a Scream 8 and that they had plans to do a trilogy. But on that production weekly list, you'll see it also says, "I'll never forget what you did last summer," which would mean that we're getting a sequel to the sequel for the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer. So we have the 2025 I Know What You Did Last Summer that's right around the corner, and they are planning to do a follow-up film to this one. Now, obviously, look, we live in the era and in the age of, putting the cart before the horse, right? Especially in horror. It's like a big theme in horror, right? We're in this like, hey, we're gonna, immediately create a trilogy type thing. You saw it with Halloween, you saw it with The Exorcist, the Strangers, right? Like it's the commonality. It's the thing that they just do now, right? You make the first movie and then you have the plans and the green light for the second movie because it is a particularly I Know What You Did Last Summer is a franchise that is known, right? It's not a original film. It's not something that's like, hey, we're gonna take a real risk and gamble on this film. It's a franchise that is known. The Hookman, the familiarity, right? Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., right? That they're going to be able to make money off of this, at least more than what the budget is, which would warrant bringing in another installment. Now, obviously, this leads to several questions of like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? Like, is this film gonna be like? Because this is gonna be like a legacy sequel. It's not a reboot or anything like that. They're using the same storyline as the original, but it is a continuity continued story, right? So they're going to keep the continuity, but it's one of those things where okay, if we're gonna get a sequel, is that going to be its own thing? Is this going to have a conclusive ending? Is this going to end on a cliffhanger? Is this going to be something where, it is just kind of one continued story? Do they kind of go the Halloween Kills route? You have the legacy characters and Julian Ray. Is the next sequel, is that going to be more focused on whoever survives this upcoming installment? And then they're going to do a sequel centered around Julian Ray die, and then this is just solely transitioning into the new characters, right? Like there's so many possibilities, potentials, and questions as to what is the approach for this upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, look, at the end of the day, I just want a good film, right? I'm all for you doing more of these films. I'm all for you. It's a franchise that I love, right? I'm a big Scream guy. Scream is my favorite horror franchise. The I Know What You Did Last Summer, Kevin Williamson, and it was part of that hype train where we just got all of these like influx of slasher films and I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legends and all that, right? Like so this is a film and a franchise that I'm more than happy to see continue. More than happy to see kind of go on and have continued films. You want to do a new trilogy? I'm all for it. As long as the trilogy is something that is good and makes sense, right? There was plans for a third film. We did get a third film. I don't want to talk about the third film. If you haven't seen the third film, then good for you. Congratulations. If you have seen the third film, then I'm very sorry and my apologies. But there was supposed to be a original third installment that never ended up happening, right? The sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer has always kind of been one that's been hot and cold with people, right? And so to me, there is always is it worth putting the cart before the horse, right? Maybe that's why they haven't made an official announcement and it was just known on the production weekly thing. That could very well be a possibility. But, you know, it, you already have the green light. That's why it's there. That's why you can see the name there because like, hey, the plan is if this is half decent, we're gonna make another film. We're gonna do another installment, right? And it's like, hopefully this film that means the studio and the people behind this film are confident enough to where they believe this is going to be well enough received, a good enough movie to where fans are going to be excited and going to want more. Right? That's the only reason you would do something like that. Like if you're not very confident in the film, or you think that this is going to bomb, or you're kind of iffy on it, or you're like, oh, how are fans going to receive the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer, then you wouldn't make you wouldn't make this. You wouldn't go the route of like, okay, well, we're going to make a part two and have that already greenlit and in the works and ready to go, right? Especially I'll never, never forget what you did last summer, right? Like, so is that going to be, are we going to kind of get a continued killer, right? Does that mean whoever the killer is at the end, can we expect them to survive, right? Or is that going to be known? Is that going to be something that's kind of, questionable, right? Like there's so many possibilities and things that need to be explored now. And now that we know this, right, then it's one of those things where the viewing experience is probably going to be a little different, right? Because if something happens, we know that there's another film, right? So like if it ends on a cliffhanger, right? And it's an important character dies, or Julie has another nightmare or something like that, to where we're kind of like, oh no, did she die? Did she live? Or the people that aren't familiar with the previous films and kind of the nightmares and whatnot, right? Well, for those that know that like there's another installment, we know like, okay, she didn't die. They didn't just kill her, right? Like she's gonna survive and gonna be in the next installment. Why? Because there's another film, right? So, that could kind of take away from some things, but look, at the end of the day, like I said, I just want a good quality film, right? Do right by the legacy characters. You have to do right by Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., Julie and Ray. The two of them need to have just good quality scenes. Don't pull a Sally in Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything like that, right? Like you see these horror franchises that just love to butcher these legacy characters, and not in like the fun way. I'm talking about like just they it's almost like they don't know what to do with them, right? Because not their characters, right? They're trying to build and establish new characters and trying to find that balance. It's hard to find. So I really do hope that they do right by Julie and Ray in this upcoming installment, and then it'll be interesting to see if they kind of carry over into the next installment, or if it's going to be one of those things where they die, or they just don't carry over or whatever. But no, give me a good film, keep them coming, and I'm with it. As always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? If it, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you want another sequel? Are you kind of like, nah, like after this, be done with it? Do you want to wait and see how the movie plays out before you kind of come to your conclusion on either way? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.